Hey everybody, I just want to spend like 15 seconds to explain why this video took so long to make. On top of, Aquaactress being my favorite, archetype and deck, I wanted this video to be really good. And, I work full time, do a couple doubles a week. And this last week, I actually had released a new cold brew, which absolutely flooded me with orders. So I actually had this video planned to be up like 3 days ago. Anyways, guys, I hope you all really enjoy this video. Hey fisherman, Aqua Duelist here. Excuse my voice, I feel fine, but it still sounds a little scratchy, but hey, I can do videos no problem now again, so I'm actually doing the full-on, just in-depth guide to the Aquaactress deck profile I did a while ago. Like requirement got met, and as soon as it got met when I had food poisoning, I was getting messages from all over, like, hey, is this going to happen? And, I was like, well, I promised it, so what we're going to do is we're basically going to talk about the deck, talk about, kind of like what it does, essentially, because I'm the only one who's actually actively making, Aquaactress deck profiles. And, for this build in particular, we're just kind of talk about what it does, talk about some of the cards and aspects of this deck so y'all fully understand, hopefully, or mostly understand this deck. And we're going to go into some combos after. I think it's important, that there's just certain things we talk about with this. So let's go ahead and get into this, guys. Alright guys, if you aren't subscribed, go ahead and harpoon that subscribe button. Really helps the channel out. And if you actually didn't see the deck profile I did for this deck, I'll link in the description down to that below. So if you guys aren't really, just familiar with Aquaactresses here, basically Aquaactresses are just this battle-focused supportive strategy. The only one we're actually playing in this build is the Tetra, which is the best one because it'll get us our aquarium cards, which are all, just the supportive things. So, yeah, like, I just wanted to briefly go over, the whole Aquaactress, what they do particularly. And, in this build, you got, like, a lot of stuff going on. You got a frog engine. Frogs are, like, really freaking good. They're honestly, like, the best water engine in general, just because, Aquaactresses are so just supportive, which is really weird considering, they're like a battle-focused thing, but they're also just super supportive. So, you got, like, the frogs, so, there's that. And then you have, like, a stun aspect to the deck. You play the bear statue, and then you also have, where is it? The Tetsudo Erat Newman, so, like, it's really weird because you do have quite a bit of things you can really go for in this deck. It doesn't specifically just focus on one thing. You have basically battle power. You have, like, just good combos into negates. And then you have stun. So you kind of have this weird mix of play styles, and everything, just melds, like, so well together just because of the fact that everything is mostly, level 2 or lower aquas for the most part. So, yeah, I just kind of wanted to, share what's really here with this deck. Alright, so, like, the first major monster card I want to talk about is Swat Frog. Now, I know in the deck profile, I feel like I went over this just perfectly. But, recap here, because this is, like, a really stupidly important card to this deck. This is arguably just your best monster. It has quite a bit of combos to do with it, so that, it's nice. But this is honestly the only monster really outside of, like, Bear Statue that your opponent's just going to pretty much be familiar with. And most of the time your opponent is going to want to just shotgun their, negates on it. People really don't like this card. They're afraid of Totally Awesome, so they want to just prevent you from making it. So this card's really good for just, baiting negates. I've done that quite a bit. The other really great thing about this card is the fact that it can send every monster in your main deck except for Ice Knight and the Barrier Statue specifically. Only two monsters it cannot send from deck to grave. This deck is just that intricately built. Um, but what's nice is you have a lot of ways to revive monsters from your deck. You have access to Monster Reborn. You have access to Surface, which is literally another Monster Reborn. We also have access to Coral Anemone, like 3 really good cards here. You have a lot of ways to really just revive pretty much just every monster in this deck. And then, you also have, the Aquarium cards, which, we're going to be talking about here in a minute. All the Aquarium cards. You have 3 different ones. They go from field to grave. You just revive an Aqua. It's just stupid. You have so much revival in this deck. It's pretty crazy. So, Swap Frog arguably is just the best card. I felt like that needed to be just reiterated. Alright, so what's one of the most important things that really needs to be talked about is just these cards in combination here. It allows for kind of like a, not just, like field control essentially, but kind of like a psychological control aspect, which I think a lot of people don't realize. So, the thing is, people don't like Toad. They don't want to deal with it. Toad's a very scary card. It is literally a Omni Negate that can just take whatever it negates, sets it. So, the only thing you can't take is Link monsters, but that's pretty scary. Getting, core cards negated or, just powerful cards negated by this, and then, have them used against you later, that's, like, nobody wants to deal with that shit. Just get the fuck out of here. So, with the Aquarium cards, you get this really unique psychological control aspect. So all the Aquarium cards, if they go from field to grave, you get to revive an Aqua. There's no stipulation other than just whatever you revive needs to be Aqua. Toad's an Aqua, so you can just revive Toad. So since nobody really knows what the Aquarium cards do, your opponent's more than likely going to want to read them. So they're going to see that all of them have the thing, just that effect where, you revive an Aqua. So while these cards are all just supportive on field, which I'll go over what they do real quick, stage makes to where water monster you control can't be destroyed by battle with non-water monsters. Aquaactress are just unaffected by monster effects. Set makes your monsters gain 300. Aquaactress gains 600. Doesn't really sound that great, I know, but it actually has put my monsters, just out of reach from being able to, just being beaten over by my opponents. You have two, if you have 2, they double up, so that's pretty cool. Lighting makes my Tetra, in particular, a 3K beat stick when I have 2 of these on the field, so yeah. But that's just what they do. So collectively, they just kind of build up a generic support for your field. Which, it really isn't that, but, they're not bad at all. The stage, arguably the best one. So now your opponent has to think, okay, do they want you, who's playing this deck, to have a stronger field presence, or do they want to deal with the Toad? 9 times out of 10, your opponent's not going to want to deal with another Toad. Because if you use the Toad, you send it to grave, they pop these, you bring that Toad back, that Toad's live again. That's another negate. Your opponent doesn't want to deal with it. So, I found that pretty much good players, mostly good players, will essentially leave these on the field. And you always want to have one of these in grave. The first one, you essentially, you can get 2 of these guys pretty easy on the field. So if you get 2, the first one, you just want to straight keep in the grave. So what's really unique is, when Toad goes to grave, you get to add a water monster back to hand. Most of the time, people just send Toads back to the extra deck. But because you want to have one, that first time, you're going to grab a water monster. The best card to grab is Swap Frog, hands down. I'd say the second best card is the Bear Statue, and then third would be like Tetra. There's, some situations where you'd want to grab Tetra maybe over a Barrier Statue, but those are just like the three best monsters to really grab out of the deck, I feel. I just felt like a lot of people don't really realize this whole kind of thing really going on here, but it's actually a good way to kind of psychologically have some control over your opponents. Keep some sort of pressure on them, and I feel like it's something that really needed to be talked about. A lot of people just don't realize it. So I feel like this is worth mentioning with Ice Knight here. So I've taken this deck to 2 locals after this card came out in Brothers of Legend. First one was literally the weekend that Brothers of Legend dropped. 14-man tournament, 5 rounds. Got 4th. Took it to another one, I think like 3 weeks later. 10 people, 4 rounds, remember correctly. Got 3rd with it. So I had 9 opponents. And only one person bothered to read this card, and then only one other person asked what it did. So 2 out of 9, that's pretty low. For whatever reason, Yu-Gi-Oh! Players don't like to read Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. They don't want to read their own cards. They don't want to read their opponent's cards. So, yeah. What happened is that first game of the first round of the first tournament, I ended up normal summoning this, and I immediately said I use the effect to get additional normal summon for Water Monster. And my opponent just said, okay, that's fine. And assume that's all it did. But it does have a second effect where it gains attack for each Aqua you control. So if you basically summon this and, you combo off, you get a big board, this thing can get pretty beefy. And basically what happened is we went into battle phase. My opponent just tried to crash into it, and I was just like, okay. And they're like, well, okay. And I said, your monster is destroyed by battle. And they're just like, wait, what? How? So, we're in damage calculation at that point, and I said, I pointed out, how beefy it really was. And they're like, well, why is it that beefy? I'm like, because of its effect. So after that, pretty much, if I basically had this and, was able to combo off, I would leave it on field. Because, like I said, only one person read it, and only one other person bothered asking. So this can, you can basically kind of play that into an advantage for a little bit with this card. It in particular, it has won me one game, actually. So I just felt like it was worth mentioning because, I want you guys to get, the most you can out of these cards and, be able to win with this deck. So I just felt like it was something worth mentioning with Ice Knight that has come up quite a bit. And, like I said, I don't take this deck to tournaments a whole lot, so people pretty much forget what this deck does. And, I'm a good pilot with it. So on top of that, that's why I do really well with this deck. So second to last thing before we get into combos, guys, I just want to kind of go over what I feel like is the worst play this deck can really do, and that's just normal summon Bear Statue and pass. This deck can do quite a lot of things. You have, a couple mixes of different, play styles, which is something I really love. You have stun, you have some combo, and then, you have, like, battle focus, strategy into it because, Aquaactress are battle focused, but they're also supportive. So, yeah, you have quite a bit of mix of things. This deck is, pretty intricate. A lot of stuff just kind of melts together. So, I do feel like just, normal summoning the Bear Statue, passing, worst thing you can do. Only do it if you really have to. I never want to summon this unless I have some form of protection. And, looking at this deck, what real protection do we have besides Aquarium Stage, which protects us from being destroyed by battle with non-water monsters. There's been times where literally if I drop this with like a set or maybe even both, if I open both, makes this thing 1600 and my opponent for whatever reason, just has nothing to normal summon in their deck that can get over that. Um, Making this with a Toad, actually, though, is pretty much game in a sense, because what you can do is you make this in Toad, opponent standby phase, you use Toad's effect, summon a Dupe Frog, and then if they activate anything, you just negate with Toad and send Toad itself, leaving the Dupe Frog. So you essentially have, you're locking your opponent on special summoning. You get, protection because of Dupe Frog, and then you get a negate off of Totally Awesome. So there's like multiple ways you can really just protect this in the deck. So I felt like it was just, worth pointing out. There's a lot of other plays you can do, and there's going to be hands where you're going to look at it and just you're not going to understand first thing, what can you really do with it. It's a very intricate deck. So I wanted to just take a moment to talk about that. All right, so last thing before we get into combos, guys, I want to talk about, Bahamas Shark here, because in the deck profile, if you haven't seen it yet, I said that this is like basically the 15th slot. It's not needed, but I feel like it was worth playing because the whole reason why I'm playing this card is if I get like double Ice Knight or like Ice Knight with a barrier statue and I just can't protect the barrier statue, I could essentially, go into this and make, a Toad. Ice Knight effectively replaced Guppy for this build in particular. This card just does Guppy's job a whole lot more and better. And, 2 Guppies can make a Toad, so I also didn't want to lose the ability to make, Toad as easily, not as easy, have more chances to make Toad, essentially. So that's why I'm playing with playing Bahamas Shark here. Like I said, it's not needed. It's here for, basically that specific scenario. So if you don't want to play this card, I have a couple other options that I want to share with you guys real quick. First one, Coral Dragon. Really good synchro. It's a tuner, so, it's needle fiber target. Although there is better needle fiber targets, to go into, in place of this. But usually I'd make this, just to be kind of like a beat stick to get over something. Discard to basically target and destroy a card my opponent controls. Didn't do that a whole lot. Well, not as much as, you'd think. But, there's times where that came up. But there's also times where I would be able to make White Aura Whale. So what I do is I'd make this in between going into White Aura Whale to get that draw effect, which was pretty good. So I feel like this is the one I spent the most time playing out of all of these, cards here that I'm showing you guys. And I think this is probably like the second best one. Next up, Time Wizard tomorrow. You want to be cheeky, steal some games, risk it all. You can do it with this card. I've won way too many games off of this where, I'm in a losing position and I basically drew Instant Fusion and just said, what the hell, let's do it. I mean, I'm going to lose anyway. And I've won 5 out of 7 games where I've, used this thing. So, yeah, there's 5 people in the Time Wizard Club now. So, yeah, really fun, just option there. Probably the best one here is Virtual World Beast Juju. So with this, you get protection if you have 2 monsters, same type and attribute, just different names in the grave. And then you get to basically banish 2 of them to, send a card your opponent controls from deck to grave. Just really good card, and, it's level 6, so you're not going to have, much of an issue making it. The only thing I do want to say, though, is with this, you are going to have an issue of graveyard management because, you should be playing Marinthus Great Bubble Reef here. And, if you're doing it right, you're going to be banishing, stuff from the grave each standby phase to, draw and beef her up. So you gotta, if you're going to play Juju here, you need to really be on top of just managing the graveyard. That can be a bit of an issue, so I felt like that was worth mentioning. But, really good card here. Marincess Great Bubble Reef is just really freaking good, a lot better than people realize. This card's so much better than I originally thought. Just being, big beat stick, gaining attack off of, stuff getting banished, and that draw effect during your opponent's standby and then your standby is really stupid. So, you're playing three of pretty much all your monsters. You don't need, all three copies, in the grave at once and all. So, yeah. All right, so going into the combos, guys, I just want to say real quick, there's a lot of combos that this deck can really do. Swap Frog. I'm going to show you guys some, that you don't need Swap Frog for, but this deck has just so many combos, and I'm not going to go over every single one, just because literally most of the cards in this deck really just work with each other. It's very intricately built, so yeah, I just want to say that, guys. But I'm going to show you, first of all, just what I think is like the simplest, stun combo there really is. So what you want to do is, if you have a water monster in your hand, discard it to summon swap, or if you don't, you normal summon it. And then you're going to Foolish Burial Titso Erat Newman here off of Swap Frog's effect for when it's summoned. And then you just bounce it back to your hand, and then you're going to use Surface to bring back this Tetsu Erat Newman in defense mode. And now you basically have like a sub-barrier statue. Neither player can special summon monsters with 1800 attack or more. It's got 1800 defense, so it's not as good as barrier statue, but it's there essentially, and it's by far just the easiest combo to this deck. Just in case if there's some people watching who are newer to the game and they actually don't, the basic frog combo, I'm just gonna go ahead and show that for you guys. So, one card combo with Swap Frog. What you do is you discard a water monster in hand, and you special summon Swap Frog. With that, its effect is going to activate. You're going to send Ronin Totem to the grave. I always just send Ronin Totem first. So, and then you're going to use Swap Frog's effect, bounce back to your hand. That's going to give you additional normal summon of frog monster, except for, Swap Frog. You're going to normal summon Swap Frog here, and go ahead and send a Dupe Frog from, deck to grave. You're going to activate Ronin Totem's affecting grave, banishing this Dupe Frog to special the Ronin Totem. From there, you will XC for Toad, and then during your opponent's standby phase, detach Ronin Totem. And with that, you're going to special summon a Dupe Frog from deck. So that's just like the basic, frog combo. For any of you guys who don't know, who, are just newer players, I figured I might as well at least show it for you guys. Alright, so this is what I feel is like the last, super easy beginner combo that I'm going to be showing off, guys. So for this, it's a 2-card combo, and you're going to want either Aquaactress Tetra, and you're going to want either Ready Fusion or Instant Fusion. Both do the exact same, thing in this build. We're going to be getting out the same targets regardless, but just, show that either or. For the sake of video, though, going forward, we're just going to use Ready Fusion. So just wanted to let you guys know there. So for this combo, what you're going to do is you're going to normal summon Aquaactress Tetra. You're going to use her effect, and you're going to grab Aquarium Stage, because Stage is just the best one, and you're going to, just activate that. Now from here, you want to activate Ready Fusion, pay 1,000 life points, and you're going to special summon Sea Monster Theseus is a level 5 tuner. You are then going to Synchro for a level 6, and I feel that the best level 6 is Penguin Brave here, and when Penguin Brave is summoned, you're going to special summon Penguin Soldier from the deck face down, and then whenever your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect to Penguin Brave, you can flip this guy face up, and you get to compulse 2 monsters your opponent controls. So that could be detrimental depending on the matchup if you do it right. So And, then what's nice is effectively, these two live till next turn. You could go into, Marinthus Coral an enemy and, revive Aquaactress Tetra if you choose so. That's an option that I've done, quite a bit. But really nice little combo here, super easy. Three, two, one. So the main 2-card combo I'm going to show you guys on the deck, you're going to need Swap Frog and Greater Slime Jr. So what you want to do is you want to discard a water monster, the special, Swap Frog here. You want to keep this Greater Slime Jr. in your hand. Now you're going to use his Foolish Burial effect to send a second copy of Greater Slime Jr. to the grave. You're going to use Swap Frog's effect to bounce him back to your hand. Now what you're going to do from here is normal summon the Greater Slime Jr. in your hand to special summon Greater Slime Jr. from the grave, which will then special summon Swap Frog from your hand. You're going to use Swap Frog's Foolish Burial effect to send a Ronin Totem. Now from here, we are going to link away Swap Frog and Greater Slime Jr. for Needle Fiber. Needle Fiber's effect will bring a third copy of Greater Slime Jr. out from the deck to the field. You are then going to XC summon Totally Awesome. So at the end of your turn, this is what's going to look like. Now, going on to your opponent's turn, you're going to detach Totally Awesome, and you're going to special summon a Dupe Frog. Now, opponent's main phase, you have a few options what you can do here with Needle Fiber. You're going to banish Needle Fiber, and you could go for Formula Synchron here, which will give you a draw 1, and then you Synchro Summon into Herald Arclight, which effectively here you have 2 negates, and Herald of Arclight kind of has like a Macros Cosmos effect, which can really hurt some decks. Or, let's rewind just a little bit, guys. Go back to this board. You could use Needle Fiber's effect to banish and special summon Christian Quandax. With this, you can Synchro Summon on your opponent's turn with the Dupe Frog to get Penguin Brave, which will then summon a Penguin Soldier face down defense. Something else I also forgot to mention for, in the last combo I did with Penguin Brave, it would be a good idea to side deck a copy of, I think it's Penguin Ninja. It does the same thing as Penguin Knight here, or Penguin Soldier, except, for spells and traps. If you're going to play Penguin Brave, it would be a good side deck option. So, just going to throw it out there real quick. But here you have a negate with 2 bounces. So what I would do, honestly, is, if you can, use Penguin Brave's effect first to flip the Penguin Soldier to get 2 bounces. And then I would personally send the Penguin Soldier for Toad's effect, so you still get to keep your Toad for next turn. And then, in your standby, you would detach to summon a Dupe Frog. So, yeah, that's like the main 2-card combo with this deck, guys. Alright, so I'm going to show you a 3-card combo version of the last combo. So this will actually get you 2 Totally Awesomes and Needle Fiber, and then You also have another like end game synchro you can make, as an option during your opponent's turn. So for this, you're gonna want Swap Frog, a Grail Slime Jr., and for the sake of this, I'm just gonna use Ready Fusion here. This could either be Surface, Salvage. There's just a handful of cards that this could really be on, Instant Fusion. So, if I'll point out like when you would activate, like Surface or Salvage, in case if you don't have this, instead of doing like 3 different variants of this combo. So starting off, same thing. Special summon swap by discarding a water monster. You're going to then send a second copy of Grail Slime Jr. from, deck to grave. You're going to bounce back good old Swap Frog. You're going to normal the Grail Slime Jr. to special a Grail Slime Jr. from the grave, and then special the Swap Frog from the hand, which Swap Frog will trigger. We're going to go ahead and send the Ronin Toad in here. Now here you would activate the Ready Fusion, and you would then get Sea Monster of Theseus here, and with that you are going to actually XC summon. Link summon. I don't know why I keep saying XC. You are going to get Needle Fiber here. Needle Fiber effect will drop the 3rd Grail Slime Jr. out of the deck. Now, from here, you can use Rototone's effect, banish the swap in the grave, to special summon Rototonen. If you had like Surface, you would use that, or Salvage to get both of these, and then discard Rototonen to special swap, and then send Dupe Frog. So yeah, there's like a few different little things you can do there. So, but the end result will be the same. So from here, we are going to XC summon 2 Totally Awesomes. Get those Totally Awesomes right over here. Try and move this to where it's all in frame for what I'm about ready to do. And then opponent standby, just detach the 2 Totally Awesomes, because it's not hard once per turn. And then we will get 2 Dupe Frogs. For sake of, just space, we'll do this. And then you can, during your opponent's main phase, banish the Needle Fiber. You could go for Formula Synchron. Use one of these Dupe Frogs to go into this, or you could go into Christian Quandax here and go into Penguin Brave, which would summon this guy in defense. Or your other option, you could go into Christian Quandax and use both of the Dupe Frogs, and you could drop the White Aura Whale, which doing so basically will Raigeki your opponent on their turn. So if you're going to, use White Aura Whale, timing is perfect. Timing is critical on that. You want to hit where it's most detrimental. And then, you also have the 2 negates here. So effectively, you could get 2 negates with a Raigeki, or 2 negates with 2 Compulses, or 3 negates, and one of them is also kind of like a Macrocosmos. So you do have some really cool options there. This is what I feel is like probably the best combo the deck really has to offer. But like I said, there are a few variants. So yeah. Alright, so just so you guys can see how loopable Tetra is, for the sake of this one, I'm going to have one copy of Tetra, uh, Ready Fusion, and Surface in the hand. There's other ways you can really loop Tetra, but this is just what I'm going to do for this one combo tutorial specifically. So starting off, normal summon Tetra, and if I didn't draw, I'd use her effect. If I didn't draw the aquarium stage, I would get aquarium stage and just activate it. If I did draw the aquarium stage, I would activate stage before summoning Tetra, because then Tetra, is unaffected by opponent monster effects. So yeah. Then from here, what I would do is link away Tetra for Link Karibo. I would then use Ready Fusion to bring out Sea Monster Theseus. And then I would use Surface to special summon Tetra back from the grave. I'll use Tetra's effect again to get a copy of Aquarium Set and activate it. Then from here, link into Marincess Coral Anemone. And then from here, use Coral Anemone's effect to special summon the Tetra again, and I would use Tetra's effect again. And personally, I'd probably go for the second copy of Aquarium Set that I have in my deck. Just, keep Tetra, if I'm going to, put Tetra in defense, which would be the wise thing to do. Get that, just kind of boost the Coral Anemone up a little more. If I drew, if I drew like one copy of an aquarium card, I would put this in attack and I would search the aquarium lighting. So I'd have 4 aquarium cards and Tetra would be 3K. But if not, I would just go with this and then grab lighting next turn. So all in all, like, this deck's really cool. Like I said, there's a lot of different ways you can loop Tetra here in this deck. Really, I feel like this deck is kind of like, if any of you guys played Soul Calibur, if you guys know Maxi, the guy with the nunchucks, literally all his attacks kind of just combo into each other. That's how I feel this deck is. Like, it's so intricately built that everything just kind of works with, pretty much everything. You have a few cards that slightly clash with, the barrier statue and, Ice Knight, because, they're level 4s. But, like, everything just melds so well together in this deck. Thank you guys so much for sticking the end of this. It's just so awesome to see that, you guys actually wanted me to do this, and, I enjoyed making this video, and it's just awesome that, people like this deck. Is still my favorite archetype in deck to this day. And, it's just so underrated and unknown. So it's just awesome, guys. If you haven't seen the deck profile that, this guide is particularly for, link in the description of that below, guys. Don't forget to harpoon the like button. Harpoon the subscribe button. Really helps the channel out. Comment any comments y'all have. And, guys, I will see y'all in the next video.